Hi, this is Sarah for our CIS120DF Photoshop Level 1 OLL session on September 5th, 2019. I'm starting around 4:19 p.m. I am recording this session. I am currently the only one here, but if any students join in, they can hopefully will follow along, but perhaps you're viewing this after Thursday night, and it'll take you through the assignment that I'm going to work through, and I'm going to show some different selection techniques. So on tonight's agenda, I'm going to go through the practice 4 assignment step by step and go through each of the different selection tools and techniques and point out some extra tips and tricks. So even if you're watching this video after the due date, this is a nice assignment to review selections, because creating really precise selections is the money maker. That's what you want to be able to do with Photoshop. It takes a lot of practice, takes figuring out what is the best tool to use, which selection tool to use, and also knowing that you can't always use one selection tool every time. You might have to use a combination of tools. So as a reminder, Chapter 3 and Practice 4 are due tonight before midnight, and on Saturday there's another assignment called Selection Practice, which follows what we do on tonight's assignment, the Practice 4. So it's just another assignment because it's so important to get so much practice. I threw another assignment in there. You will know that the file is a pretty low resolution file. I did that on purpose so that you can so it doesn't take up a lot of file space. I see that Winter Lakita has joined us. Can you hear me, Winter? Can you hear me? I see another student has joined us. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name properly. I'll wait and see if she responds back. There is a text messaging feature, a chat feature. If you're not able to speak back to me, you definitely can type your answers. I think that you are listening, but you might need to turn your volume up or the mute button. I don't know. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep moving on. Hopefully you can hear me and see what I'm doing. I will be taking you through the Practice 4 assignment tonight. And what I was talking about when I noticed you jumped in was that this assignment tonight, Practice 4, is followed by another one called Selection Practice due on Saturday. And you're just basically going to use the same techniques that you're doing in the assignment due tonight for the assignment on Saturday. So you get to practice it again, and just be aware that I know it is a low resolution file. That's okay. I'm looking to see if you can replicate what you did in the assignment tonight. Also, your first discussion question is due by this Saturday. So if you haven't participated in that, you definitely want to do that tonight on Thursday, and for sure on Friday, because if you post all your responses on Saturday, you will lose a few points. So it's important that you post on at least 2 different days over the course of the due date for the discussion. So definitely get in there. Many of your classmates have already participated. It's not too late. You could definitely reply to your peers before you actually post your...
the only person in this conference.
Oh, we lost a student. Maybe she'll come back. So yeah, definitely get in there and post to that first discussion question. And then again, the muddiest point, not a requirement, but I'm definitely going to go in there. You'll see that I posted a summary from last week of what people had the most confusing areas on. So remember that you can definitely participate in that as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and screen share Photoshop. And I will know at this time, several students have let me know, and I've experienced this as well, that sometimes when you watch this video after I've created it live, you can't see the screen share. I've made our IT department aware of it. I've actually experienced it as well. It seems that if you're watching this video off the Wi-Fi, that's where the issue is. So I'm working with IT right now to figure that out. So don't give up. And I am actually recording this whole session using a secondary device. So I'm actually creating a video of this video, and I'll make sure that I post that inside Canvas, but I probably won't have any closed captioning with it. I don't know if I'll have time to get the closed captioning done. I see the student has joined us again. Let's see. Hi, Winter. Can you hear me? I'm not sure. All right. Well, I'm going to keep moving on, and I'll see if she's able to jump in. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share Photoshop. And I want this screen. And yes, you should be able to see that. Okay, so working on the practice 3 assignment, and I actually already have the instructions printed out. So here in front of me, so I'm going to be taking you guys through this assignment. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. This way I want to be able. No, I can't. She cannot hear me. It's very faint. My volume is turned up. What type of device are you watching this on? We'll see. Okay, make sure. And you did click. Okay, I just made it louder. Can you hear me? Made it louder on my end. Can you hear me? I don't think it's going to make a difference. Do you have headphones on? I have had students do that as well. Make sure the headphone volume and the computer volume are both up. Oh, I see another student. Maddie has joined us. I'm going to wait. Let these students get in before I move on to the next session, next part of this assignment. Hello?
Hello.
Who is this? Is this Maddie?
Yeah, this is me.
Okay, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, how are you?
Good.
Good. I'm waiting to, there's another student. I'm waiting to see if she might be calling in with her phone so she can talk as well. She's having a hard time hearing on it. Are you going to be following along with the assignment, Maddie?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so do you have a copy of the instructions with you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, because I'm only going to be able to show Photoshop on the screen, but I won't be able to show the instructions.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so I am recording this session, and I'm actually doing a double recording. I'm recording it within the tool, but I'm also recording it using another device to make a video of this video of the session. So I'm going to post that in our classroom because I know that some students have been having some issues viewing these after the air date, and it's something to do, I think, with viewing it across Wi-Fi. I've already put in a work order with our IT department to see if there's something that they can help us with. So I was just talking before you joined in. What I'm going to be doing tonight is I'm going to step through the practice 4 assignment and highlighting the different selection tools. Understanding and knowing how to make selections and understanding which selection tool to use is super important, and it takes a lot of practice. Because you're going to make selections all the time. Did you have any questions before we get started?
Not really, but I have been having like a hard time trying to like do the invert
Oh,
with the
okay.
with those circles.
Sure.
So, cause you know how like we changed the size of it,
Yep.
and so like having to like change the size of it and then doing the inversion, it puts the other one that's on the bottom or the top onto the color it usually was.
Hmm.
So,
All right. Well, I'm going to go through the entire assignment, and maybe you'll see where you might not be clicking on the right thing, or might not have something selected properly. So I'm just going to go through the whole assignment step by step. So if you want to open up your file and wait till we get to that part, or if you want to start from the beginning, you can.
okay, sounds good. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll probably be like following
Oh,
throughout
she's here
the
now.
entire.
Yay. Okay, perfect. Okay. So hold on. I'm talking to the other student. Are you just to listen and watch? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. All right, give me a minute I already have Photoshop set up, so let me do put this over here, and then I'm going to screen share Photoshop. Perfect. Okay, this way. Okay, so I have two monitors, so now I can see if Winter. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Winter Latika. I don't think I'm saying it properly, so I apologize. Oh, she's already offline again. Maybe she'll be back. Okay, so I have the start file open. Do you have the file open as well, Maddie?
Yeah, let me open it real quick.
Okay. And while you're opening it, for you and everyone listening, the instructions that you get with these assignments are super important to print out, or at least make sure you have copies of, because these are your notes. And if you've noticed, you will find answers to a lot of the exam questions in these notes. So it's important to keep these assignments, because you'll find a lot of really useful information in addition to the tutorial that I'm taking you through. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
ready.
All right, and so go ahead and double click the hand tool to make sure that the image fits the whole screen.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so this assignment is all about making selections, and it's really, being able to make a very precise selection is where you make your money, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So it's practice with the different tools, and you will find that there are some tools that you like better than others. Some of us just always use the magic wand or the lasso, but what you will find is that you will probably have to use a combination of tools, especially for areas that are really intricate. Okay, so we have this plate here. We're just going to cut out these different shapes and place them on the plate. So first of all, one of the things that I always like to point out is you will see, especially if you watched any of the speed art videos, that PSD files can have lots of layers. And so sometimes it's really nice to organize them. You can color code them, and the easiest way to do that is you can right click on a layer. So I'm going to right click on this first layer, and I can choose a color. I can say red, and do you see how it places a little red right there? And I can right click on this one and change this one to blue. So sometimes if you color code your layers, or when we get to layer groups, layer folders, it makes it just another nice way to organize your file and find things quickly. So the workspace, in every assignment I give you, I tell you to reset the workspace to essentials. So I already have essentials set here. And if you notice, I have my toolbar over here. I like to click this little chevron. That makes the toolbar into two columns. It's just a little bit easier for me to look at. So that's how I like to have my workspace set up. All right, I want you to go ahead and uncheck the eyeball, click on the eyeball next to practice layer 1. And what that does is it turns off this first layer, and you can see the second layer. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you looking at my screen?
I'm doing both at the same time.
Okay, so if you look at my screen, which layer is selected? Can you tell?
Yeah, so the second layer right
Yeah,
now.
exactly, because it's practice too. So one of the biggest mistakes that students make, even I make this mistake, is when you're trying to do something, you might not be on the right layer. So that's always something that you want to think about, is if something is not working right, ask yourself, am I even on the right layer? And then take a look over here in the layers panel to see that. Okay. Go ahead and turn the practice layer back on, practice layer 1, and go ahead and click on practice layer 1 to make it the active layer. And so everything we're going to do for the majority of the assignment happens on this first layer. All right. And I'm at the top of page 2 now. Winter's asking a question. Oh, Maddie, you're answering. Thank you. Yes. If I give you a start file, you must use it. You will always know I want you to find your own images. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm at the top of page 2. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is this. We're going to select the sand dollar. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom into the sand dollar. You can do that however you like. I like to use the zoom tool, and I'm just going to click over here once or twice. And then here's a keyboard shortcut I use all the time. Do you notice how the zoom tool is the active tool right now?
Yeah.
Okay. The zoom tool is the active tool. I'm going to press the space bar. Do you see what happened to my tool? It changed to a hand. And while my space bar is down, I can now click and drag and move around. I can let go of the space bar and the zoom tool remains active.
Oh, okay.
Did you do it? Did you try it? I know, right? That's like one of my favorite things to do. I use that all the time. So the space bar, no matter what tool you're on, if you press the space bar, it will turn to the hand or pan, P-A-N, pan tool. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you have to, when you look at something to select it, you kind of have to decide what you're looking at and what's the best way to select it. So the first set of selection tools, the first selection tool I'm going to have you work with is the quick select. And that's right up here underneath the magic wand. If you have the magic wand, it's going to be the quick selection tool. So that's the one we're going to use.
Okay.
And what it does is it selects things based on colored pixels, but it works really well if you have something that's pretty much all the same color. So you can see that this is all pretty much white, a different white, and you can see there's a really defined edge between the sand dollar and the white part of the background, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're just going to change, and most of these tools work as if they were a brush. So I'm going to change the settings. I want the size of my brush right up here in the options bar to be 50 pixels, and you don't ever have to type the PX in. You can just type the 50. And hardness is the edge, the round edge of the brush. Sometimes you might want it to have a fuzzy edge, and sometimes you might want to have a hard edge. And in this case, because we have a very defined edge, we want the hardness to be 100%. And then we want to go ahead and put a check mark next to auto enhance. That just makes the tool smarter. Once you've done that, all you have to do is watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to come out here to the sand dollar, and I'm just going to click and drag just like the tiniest bit. And I let go, and it automatically selected everything to the edge. Did that do it for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like super fast, right? Super easy to make that selection. Okay. So now I'm going to take this sand, now that it's selected, what Photoshop, so you have to remember, Photoshop only sees pixels. It doesn't see a sand dollar. It doesn't see a seashell. It doesn't see a plate. It just sees pixels of different color. So whatever's inside our selection are the pixels that are being affected. That's what I'm going to be working on at that moment. Okay. I'm going to double click the hand tool. So I zoom back out, right? But my selection is still active. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Now, if I want to move it, this is one of the other things, you know, you would think, oh, I can just don't do this. All right. Just watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go back to the quick select tool, right? And some people might think, oh, okay, well now I've selected. If I click and drag, you see what's happening? How it's selecting more of the objects?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Control Z. Okay. Control Z, by the way, undoes, which I don't even think is the correct word, only the last step. If you ever want to go backwards in time, there's the history panel up here, and you can always go backwards farther. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Were you here? Were you in the session last week? I can't remember.
Yeah, I was here.
Okay, perfect. All right, I was thinking so. So yay! I got a groupie. All right, very good. Okay, so if I want to move this, I need to actually click the move tool. And now I can come over and you can see I get the move, I get the symbol changes to an arrow, and you got the little scissors, which is actually telling us when you move this, you're cutting it away from the space. So I can click, hold, and drag, and I can just kind of place it over here, right? And now all of a sudden I actually can see through the top layer. I can see the picture underneath. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Did you get that? So
yeah,
that's supposed to happen. Like I can see underneath. Now sometimes that could be confusing for people. So first I'm going to deselect my selection. I want to make sure I don't have any active pixels. So you can either come up here to the select menu and choose deselect, or you can do Control D or Command D if you're on a Mac. And you'll see the marching ants went away. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then if this is bothering you, which it does bother me a little bit, if I turn the eyeball off of practice layer 2, don't click on the layer, just turn the eyeball, you can see I get that checkerboard pattern, and the checkerboard means nothing. And that's supposed to be there.
I'm just noticing that my image is like smaller, like than the one yours is showing.
What do you mean smaller?
Oh, okay. I think I was putting it in the wrong place. Like the sandshell goes out of the white space.
You mean like I moved it from here to the plate?
Yeah, like the white spot.
This area?
The other area by the sandshell.
Over here?
Yeah, I was trying to put it there and it was coming out of the place.
And that's okay, and this doesn't have to be perfect, just so you know. So if you need to go backwards in time to move it, you can. And I would tell you and anybody watching this, so if you're doing the assignment with me, Maddie, when we're done, you can just turn it in. And what I normally do in an in-person class is when I do this assignment in class, I have everybody turn it in and you would earn the full points because you did it with me in real time.
Okay, sounds good.
So don't worry if you're making a mistake or whatnot, because we're working on it together.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, good. All right. You know what I forgot to totally do at the very beginning, by the way? I didn't save my file. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to go File, Save As. And always with every assignment in my class, you always want to put your first and last name at the end of the file. And if you get this maximize compatibility, you can just go ahead and click OK through that. That's just telling you that, hey, your file is going to be able to be opened in older versions of Photoshop.
Okay. Trying to make a folder for.
Okay, you take your time.
Okay.
All right.
I'm good.
Perfect. Okay. All right, I am on page 3. All right, so that was the quick select. That works by finding color edges of colors, and it works really well if you have a lot of the same color, okay, for large areas.
Okay.
All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom into this area, this like orange and green area of seashell. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the zoom tool. I'm going to click zoom twice. I'm going to hold the space bar down and drag it, let go of the space bar. And so that's in the center of my screen.
Zoom tool. Okay. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so now we're going to use these marquee tools over here. So these are some other selection tools. So the selection tools you'll find, it's not move, but these 3 up here, you've got marquee tools, the lasso tools, and then we have the quick selection and magic wand, which we're going to do both tonight. So these 3 sets of tools and all the ones underneath are what you primarily use to make selections. In a couple of weeks, you're going to learn how to use the pen tool to make paths, and that's another way to make selections. So this is where we're focusing tonight. So on the marquee tool, you have rectangular, elliptical, and then you have a single row and single column, which are used to do some cool special effects. I actually posted a video on our Facebook page this week that shows how to make a really cool special effect using the single marquee tool. So if you haven't liked us, you should definitely like us, or you should like us, and then you can go. It's a 1-minute tutorial video in Photoshop. Makes a really cool special effect. But okay, so since I know that I want to select this whole thing, I know and everything inside of it, it's kind of like a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the elliptical marquee. Okay, now you have this little crosshairs. So wherever I start, if I just left click, hold, and drag down and to the right, I have elliptical, but it's not really placed where I want it to go, right? Okay. Yeah. Now, what I can do is I have not let go of my mouse at this point. Like I'm still moving my mouse, but what I can do is I still have my left mouse pressed. If I now hold the space bar down, it allows me to move that selection, let go of the space bar, and I can continue drawing it however I want. Then I can let go of the mouse, and I've made almost a perfect selection. Do you want me to show that again?
I'm trying it out right now.
So you want to start drawing your selection. Don't let go of the mouse, and then just hold the mouse still. Press the space bar with your other hand, and then keep the space bar down, and then move the mouse again, and you should be able to move that selection around.
Okay, I got it.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Right? So that's a way that you can start making a selection, but really refine what you're doing, position it exactly where you want it to
go. I got it down.
You got it? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and double click my hand tool to zoom out, because that's my favorite way of zooming out. I'm going to click my move tool, and I'm just going to move the seashells right up here. I don't know, is this the layout that I gave you guys? Yeah, sort of. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Now, the marching ants, that's the active selection. Remember, when that's active, like I can move this around right now, right? But once I turn the selection off, those pixels become permanent in that spot. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to turn off my selection. I like to use Control D as in dog on the keyboard, and that's an easy way to turn off that selection.
Nice.
Got it?
Yes.
I liked it. All right, give me a Control S or a Command S to save your file.
Okay. Got it.
What are we going to do next? Oh, we're going to do the Sally seashells. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom into Sally seashells. And I'm space bar to move that right to the center. Okay. Now this one, we're going to do the same thing we did before, but we're actually going to have 3 different keys on the keyboard pressed at any one time, okay? So listen and watch me first and then try it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this elliptical marquee. Now, you notice when I just started drawing a selection, it started from the upper left corner, went down and to the right, okay? But you can draw from the center. If you hold the Alt key down, all right, I have my Alt key pressed and I start drawing. Do you see how it's drawing it from the center out? Right?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. And if I hold the Shift key down, Shift makes a perfect circle or a perfect square. Shift is what constrains proportions. So right now I'm holding Shift and Alt at the same time, right? And if I need to move it, what key on the keyboard do I press to move it? Do you remember?
Space.
Space, exactly. So now I can press space and now I can move this around, right? So maybe I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, bring it in, right?
Yeah.
Let go of the mouse first, then let go of the keyboard.
Okay. So it's Alt first, right?
You can press Alt first. That lets you start drawing from the center, then Shift. It doesn't matter if you do Alt or Shift first. It doesn't matter. But you eventually want both of them down at the same time.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying to like.
I know, it takes a little bit of time. Oh, Winter got it too. Yay! Yay, Winter.
Okay.
Now,
I think I got it.
oh, good. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Now, I would say to you and anybody else watching, you might be saying, why are you using that selection tool when you could just use the quick select? Because it is kind of all one color, right? With a defined edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick select would be way faster and out there in the, if I was getting money paid for it, I'd probably do that. But this is school and I'm teaching you how to use different tools. So that's why I have you go through this exercise, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and double click the hand tool. I'm going to select the move tool and I'm going to move it over here. Now this is where you said you were having a problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so while my seashells is still selected, I can change it. I can invert it. Okay. Let me make sure.
Okay.
That's when we do the invert. So now I'm going to go up to image, adjustments, and I'm going to choose invert. All right. So there's so many things that we can do. I'm just showing you a little extra. Okay. So what it's doing, excuse me, I'm going to click invert, is it takes every pixel and finds the opposite color of it. So every color has a numerical value, and so it's finding the opposite numerical value of that. So that should have changed it to blue, from yellow to blue. It's opposite on the color wheel if you want to think about it that way.
Okay.
Did you get it?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
So I change it.
Go to image,
Okay.
adjustments, invert.
Okay, got it.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you see how it still has the marching ants, the inactive selection? We call that marching ants in the world of Photoshop. Actually, in a lot of technology programs. So now what I can do is, while I still have this active selection, I could actually duplicate this selection. And the easiest way to do that, see, if I were to just click right now, it would move it and it would remove the pixels behind it. See how I'm getting that checkerboard? I don't want that. Control Z. Instead, I want to duplicate and move it at the same time. So if I hold the Alt key down, do you see how the arrows change to like 2 arrows? That's kind of a little cue saying, hey, you're going to make a duplicate, and I can duplicate it and move it at the same time.
So I had it on with the little ants.
Yes.
And it after selecting invert, it took the little ants out. I'm not sure if I'm doing it wrong.
So let's open up your history panel.
Okay.
And tell me what you read there from the bottom up.
From the bottom up.
You might have to expand it like this. Do you see how I'm expanding mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so you can see all the steps. Redo, please. Redo, please. Oh, Winter's saying redo, redo. I will redo it, Winter. Absolutely. I'm going to come back and do it.
I have a elliptical marquee.
Yeah.
And then it says deselect save layer visibility.
Okay.
And move.
So yours doesn't look like mine. It doesn't say duplicate, invert, move, going backwards, going from the bottom up.
Yeah, no, I haven't done the duplicate yet.
Okay. Everybody go back to, Winter, do you have the history panel open? We'll see. I'm going to go back to where it says elliptical marquee.
Okay.
I'm going to go forward. I'm going to go to move, and I'm going to select invert. So we're at the invert stage. When you're at the invert stage, does your selection go away?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's
All
where
right.
it goes away. Even though I have the layer picked, I thought it was a layer too, but it has it does pick my layers picked.
So you have some kind of setting on your version of Photoshop that's automatically getting rid of the selection. And you have the most current version of Photoshop installed?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
All right. So what you see is this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's fine. No worries. I don't know why that's happening. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So what we're going to do is let's go over to the quick selection tool.
Okay.
And just click once in the center of it.
Okay, got it.
Did it select it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now click the move tool.
Okay, can you turn the TV down?
Okay.
Oh, I clicked the move tool.
Now
One second.
Now hold the Alt key down.
Do I choose? Do I put it on the practice layer 1?
You should have practice layer 1 selected. You should click the quick select tool and click one time inside Sally's seashells.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Ooh, who is this?
Winter. Okay,
Hey,
I
can
fixed
hear
it.
you. Yay! Awesome. Welcome. How do you pronounce your name, by the way?
It's Winter Latika, but I do go by Winter. So.
Okay, Winter Latika, though. I want to know, like, this is the hard part when you don't hear people. Okay, Winter Latika. Okay, perfect. But I'll call you Winter, and I hope that was okay. So good for that. Yay!
No problem.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right, so are you with us at the same spot?
Yes, I actually was able to duplicate it.
Okay, perfect. So Maddie,
move.
so let's see where Maddie's at. Maddie, do you have Sally's seashells selected? Are the matching ants going around it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go ahead and click the move tool and then hold the Alt key down. And when you do, you should see how my cursor has changed with the Alt key down. It looks like 2 arrowheads. That's actually saying you're going to make a duplicate. And now if you click, hold, and drag down and to the right, it'll duplicate that selection.
Okay. Oh.
That's like the, I'm learning something.
Oh, okay. So it's actually duplicating the image, but the image is not inverted. So it comes out to be just like the regular Sally's seashell, the orange one.
All right.
Am I clicking on the wrong version, maybe?
No, but let me try one more thing. Double click your hand tool.
Okay.
And you don't have a Sally Seashells over here to the right, do you?
No, I don't.
You just have it over here, right?
Yes.
Weird. This is hard. I don't know how to debug this one. All right. Well, go ahead and do you have the duplicate already, but it's orange?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's fine. But are the marching ants around the second orange one?
Let me check right now. Yes.
Okay. Go to image adjustments, invert, and see if it turns it back to blue.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, my phone is doing crazy stuff.
Okay, 1 second. Let me go image. Where's the
image adjustments? Invert.
Oh, okay. It's crazy.
Did it make it blue?
Oh, 1 second. 1 second.
That's okay.
Okay. Yes, I made it blue.
Okay, so it's weird. It's like when you're doing the steps, it's taking it all the way back to what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
I have no idea why either. And so this is awesome. I get to tell this story every semester. So I've been using Photoshop for 25 years, okay? And there are whole parts of it I don't even know. And there are so many ways to do things and so many configurations. I don't know. I'm not that much of an expert. I mean, I know a lot, don't get me wrong. But there have been times in class when I've taught this and a student has said, "What's happening?" And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea. You're gonna have to start over. Like sometimes I don't know I don't know how to fix it. But that's also a good lesson when you're working in the field or when you're working on something. One, and this is to everybody listening to this or watching this, you definitely always want to save your file. Remember that the history panel, the states persist for just that one session. And sometimes you might have to start over. You might have to go backwards and start things over. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why that's happening. But we've worked through a solution so that you can figure it out for the next assignment. If you need to go and do the invert twice or reselect, you know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then the last thing we're going to do while this second one is selected is we can actually change the size of it. And that's called a transformation. So while you have the marching answer on the second one, I'm going to go up here to edit, transform, scale. And you will see the options bar changes to get these sizing handles. And what I can do is I can actually come up here to width and height. And I'm going to highlight the width box and type in 150, meaning 150%. And I have my little link icon checked. So that means if I change the width, the height automatically changes with it. If it didn't, then go ahead and type in 150 right here. And then while it's still looking like this, I can move it. Oops. Oh yeah, we're going to leave that there. And then I'm going to
Hold on. How do you type the number? Where do you type the 150 at?
You are going to go, let me go back here. So I have my duplicate, right? I'm going to go up to edit, transform, scale, and then right up here in the options bar, do you see where it says width?
Options bar.
At the very top.
Yeah.
And you can type it in, or you can even scrub it up to 150% if you wanted to. Just makes it, 50% bigger, right? I can move it a little bit, and I can press enter.
So how big do we want it?
However big you want it, I don't care. Okay.
I don't see the width in my options bar.
You do or do not?
Do not.
What do you see?
I see history, properties, color, libraries.
No, the options bar is at the top of the screen. Underneath file, edit, image, layer.
Oh, okay. Mine's is different than yours. Okay, I see it.
Are you using the most current version of Photoshop?
I believe so.
Okay.
I just downloaded it, so.
Okay, then definitely. Okay. Once you've set in your transformation, you can click the commit button right up here on the options bar or press the enter key. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do the both of you still have now the second one that's bigger? Do you have the marching ants around it?
Yes.
Click the move tool.
Yes.
Hold the alt key down. And click, hold, and drag down and to the right. What happened?
It's the big one again.
So what happened with you, Winter? Did you get another one?
Yeah, I have 3 now.
Okay, Macy, what did you get? Or Maddie, what did you get?
Same thing.
Did
I
it turn
figured out
orange
what I
again?
did wrong. No, actually, I did the wrong step.
Oh, okay. What was the step?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
So actually, you know where the adjustments are?
Yes.
There's an invert button too there.
Okay.
So I pressed that instead of
Got it. Oh,
instead
yeah,
of going
invert.
to image.
Okay. Okay. I was losing my mind a little bit. I was like, what is going on? Why? I don't know what's happening. Oh, okay, awesome. I love it. All right, so with your third seashell, just go back up to edit, transform, scale. But this time, instead of typing in a number, I want you to hold the shift key down. And then in the upper right corner, just click and drag up and to the right a little bit. And holding the shift key down will constrain the proportion so that you always get equal width and height. And you can just make it a little bit bigger and then click commit.
Got it.
Both of you?
Got it.
All right. Control D as in dog to deselect and Control S to save. Okay. All right. Questions so far?
No, me.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Here's the next one we're going to do. We're going to select this coral. Okay.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use two tools. The first thing I want you to do is select a rectangular marquee tool. Okay. And I just want you to draw a box around the coral. I don't want any part of the plate or the seashells or anything. I need the coral to be contained within a box of just white background.
Okay.
Okay. Now, because we've made a selection already, the next thing we do, whatever we do, will only happen within that box, in this case, within this active selection, okay? So what we're doing is we're kind of telling Photoshop, all right, I only want to do something in this specific area, okay? And I don't always use this technique. It's just it's something cool that I like to share. So now that I have this coral selected, I'm going to come over to my tools and I'm going to choose the magic wand tool, okay? Now the magic wand tool makes selections based on color, okay? The marquee tool, the rectangular and circle, which we've used before, that makes selections based on shape. In this case, a circle or a square. What?
Thank you. Sorry, that was my son.
Oh, okay. I was like, is somebody else talking to me? Okay, sorry. Okay. So the magic wand tool makes a selection based on color. So it actually sees color in the image. And we're going to use it twice today. We're going to do it here, and then we're going to do it when we get to this practice layer 2 at the end of the assignment. So what we're going to do is, with the magic wand tool, right up here at the top of the screen, we want to set on the options bar, we want to set the tolerance to 32. And we want to choose this option over here that says subtract from selection. Okay, you have new selection, add to selection, subtract from selection, and then intersect. We want to choose subtract. So make sure that you pick this option on the options bar. Okay. And what happens is with the magic wand tool, the way it works is when you click, don't click yet, but when you click, typically, whatever pixel you clicked on, Photoshop, in this case, would find every pixel that is 32 shades lighter and darker than whatever pixel I picked on. So it actually goes into the document and finds all the other pixels that are either 32 shades lighter or darker. Okay, and you're going to see how this works when it makes even more sense when we get to this other assignment. But in this case, we're using it a little bit differently. Instead, we're saying subtract. So since I'm going to click in this white area inside the square, and when I click it, what it did was it found all the white pixels and it got rid of them and it selected everything except that color. That's why it selected the coral shape.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yep.
So sometimes when you approach a problem in Photoshop, think of it from a different angle. Instead of picking the image, maybe sometimes you want to pick everything except the image, right? Sometimes you want to do things opposite. That it just makes it a little bit easier. All right, once you have your coral selected, click the move tool and you can move it to the center of the plate. And then a Control D and a Control S. Did you guys get it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Get out.
Maddie, did you get it? Did I lose you, Maddie?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello?
okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You got
Okay,
it?
got it.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the muscle. So go ahead and zoom in on the muscle. And I'm going to use my pan. I'm going to get it right in here. All right. All right. And I know we're going to run over in time, but I don't have a problem with that if you guys don't have a problem with it. So.
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the last tool we're going to use are these lasso tools. Okay. So I'm going to go over, and there's 3 of them. There's the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, and the magnetic lasso tool. When I first learned Photoshop, which was 25 years ago, the only lasso tool we had was lasso. Okay, it was the first one. These other ones have been added in recent years and they're totally awesome. But back in the olden days, with the olden days of Photoshop, we had to do things the long way with the lasso tool. So the lasso tool picks an area based on shape, but it can be any shape that you make. You know, the rectangular and these 2 tools, these rectangular, elliptical, those are obviously squares and circles, right? But this muscle, this is an organic shape. It doesn't have, you know, it's not uniform and it's got curves. So the lasso tool is perfect for that. You can just watch this part if you want, or you can follow along. So if I were just to pick the lasso tool, I could come over here and I'm going to click and hold my mouse down and I'm just going to drag along the edge, and I'm not doing a good job on purpose. When I get to the end of my selection, I let go and it creates the marching ants. Okay? But that is definitely not a very good selection. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crappy, right? I would not be making money with this selection. Now, there are ways to refine this selection, but I'm not going to go into that because we have these other tools to use. I'm going to show you those refinements in a minute. I can come in and I can almost like sculpt it like I'm carving. All right. If you made this selection, go ahead and do a Control D to get rid of it. Okay, so that's the free hand. That works pretty nice. But you have to have a steady hand. Obviously, if I'm using like a stylus and a Wacom tablet, that would work a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and choose polygonal lasso. This one's nice if you have straight edges. So again, the way this one works is I'm going to click and let go of my mouse. And then I can just pull, see how I'm pulling and I'm getting an edge, a line? And then I can click and pull and click and pull and click, 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 click. When I get to the end, do you see the little circle that's appearing in the lower right corner? That's telling you that you're at the beginning or at the end. You're going to close your selection. I click it and I have a selection again. Again, not the best shape. This time it's all edges, hard edges, right? And I clearly have this organic shape with lots of curves. So again, I could use this. This is great if you had some type of geometric shape and you kind of freehanding it, but this is not the best, right? Control D to select. The last one, magnetic, this is the best one. This is smart. It actually, Photoshop will find the edges for you. It looks for that high contrast, this light background, this dark edge, and it can lay down a selection for you. So the way it works is you click one place on an edge, and then you don't have to keep, then I let go of the mouse, and I can just start pulling my mouse. I don't have any buttons pressed. And do you see how it's laying down the edges of the selection? Now, if you want to go slow, I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. I did that on purpose, right? And I'll do this one on purpose. Maybe I got interrupted, right? And I come back and I click and boom, I got my selection. Now that looks pretty darn good, except for this area and this area, right? All right. Let me know when you want me to move on. Are you guys making your selections?
Yeah.
Oh, I was still following along.
Oh, well, it's okay. I mean, I was just showing you. I want you to make the selection, but I want to show you how to edit it once you've made it.
Okay, I made mine.
Okay. I'll wait for you, Winter.
Almost done.
Take your
Am
time.
I making a mistake? Should I make a mistake too?
If you want. Most students always
Okay.
try to make it one and done, which I always say it's never one and done in this class. But mistakes happen, or, you know, it doesn't always have to be perfect. There's always a way I can come in and fix it.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. So now I'm missing the selection here. So I need to add this piece in, right? And I need to delete this piece right here, right?
Mhm.
So the way it's going to work is I'm going to come back and choose the regular lasso tool and just watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold the shift key down and I'm going to start inside the muscle. I'm going to come across the selection edge and come back in. I let go. And do you see how it added that piece in?
Okay.
And I held the shift. I had to hold the shift key down to do that. I'm going to do a Control Z. I'm going to do it again. I have the lasso tool.
Mhm.
I hold the shift key down. So you see how it has a little plus now next to it? That means I'm adding to the selection. And I don't even have to close it. I can just come in here inside, right? I'm even going to make it dramatic. I'm going to come all the way up, cross the edge. Whoa. Come back in. And there we go. Right?
Oh, and we're holding it on this one,
Yeah,
yeah.
keep the shift key down. Come along.
Okay.
When I come back inside, I let go of the shift key and I let go of my mouse. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To do the
Yeah.
opposite. Yeah, right? Now to do the opposite, this time instead of the shift key, I'm going to hold the alt key down. Do you see how there's a little minus now next to it?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm just going to come. It's like I'm carving it off.
Okay.
I'll do it again. I hold the alt key down and I come up, bring my selection line, I cross that edge where it's perfect. I go along the edge I like, I come back down, I let go. It's kind of like you're carving the selection up, adding, sculpting, making it the way you want.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to do a few more transformations. Everybody go to Edit, Transform, and choose Rotate. And you'll see the bounding box appears. If you place your cursor along any of the outer edges, you see that curved arrow.
Mhm.
You can just click, hold, and drag it around a little bit, and it rotates it. That's how you could rotate something, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And then while it's still in this transformation mode, I can come to Edit, Transform. You can flip things, horizontal or vertical. I'm going to choose horizontal. It just flips it around. Okay.
Okay.
Double click my hand tool to zoom out. Click my move tool, and I can just nestle that in right there. Okay.
Transform and flip.
Got it.
Flip horizontal is what I did.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Control D as in dog to deselect and Control S to save.
Okay.
So what do you guys think? What questions do you have so far?
None. I'm good so far.
Okay.
Same here.
Okay. So the non-creepy teacher fantasy is that all my students go back and redo these practices so they become more familiar with how the tools work. All right. Now, if we were, I know, it's a non-creepy fantasy. That's what my hope is. Okay. But there is another assignment due Saturday that you get to practice this with. I'm going to jump ahead and do the practice layer tool. The last piece you guys need to do to turn it in is use whatever you want to select out this seashell piece, right? And put it on the plate. So you can use whatever tools you want with whatever we learned tonight to just cut that piece out and put it on the plate. All right.
Okay.
But I'm gonna skip that for time's sake. And instead, I want to go over here to practice layer 2 and show you something, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead and turn the eyeball on practice layer 2. Turn the visibility off of practice layer 1. Now, what layer is the active layer right now?
Practice layer 1.
Correct. I want to be on practice layer 2. So make sure you both select practice layer 2 first. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to get weird results. Okay. So this is really cool. I think it is. And for the 2 of you watching and anybody else watching, the skill I'm about to show right here is what you're going to need to complete the assignment that's due next Tuesday. It's a bigger project where you have to separate a background from another object. Okay, so this can help you with that.
Yikers.
Yep. What?
Oh, I said yikers.
Yikers, I know, right? Remember, it's a 100 level class. It's all about practice, okay? So I do want you guys to have fun, but at a super fast pace because you're taking the 8-week version of the class. All right, so what I want to do is I want to change all the blue flowers to another color. What do you think about that? Did I lose you? Are you like, forget about it?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, I see Winter. She muted it. Okay, no problem. So what you're going to do, and I'm on the very last page of the assignment, is we're going to use the magic wand tool. So I want you to go ahead and click magic wand. Okay. And this is nice because it'll pick everything that is going to be blue. So I want you to set the tolerance to 32, which it should be from the last step we did. Okay. And I want you to make sure that you click add to selection up here. What that means is everywhere I click, it's going to keep adding it to my selection. All right. So once I've clicked the add to selection, I'm just going to come out here and click on one of the blue petals. And do you see how it picks some of the blue flower?
Yeah.
Okay. And what this means, this is how the magic wand tool works. Wherever I clicked, it picks 32 pixels lighter and darker of the same color. You know, but because it found this edge out here, it stopped picking colors because it really changed dramatically. So now I'm going to come down here in the center and click again. I added some more of the blue flower, right? And you see how this selection is still active? And now these are too. That's because we have this add to selection option picked up here. All right. Go ahead and pick one more. I'm going to go ahead and click over here. And I've got 3 areas of the picture selected, right?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, now here's the magic. Ready to have your mind blown. Go up to select.
Okay.
And choose similar. What?
Effective. What?
What? Oh my God. Now just to make
I got it too, yeah.
Yeah, right? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Now we're gonna just refine it a little bit. Go up to select and just choose grow just one time. I know in the assignment instructions, I have you do it twice, but you actually should only do it once. It just kind of depends, right? Now that we have a selection, come over here to that adjustment panel. Maddie, you know what that is because that's where you're picking before, right? And I want you to add the hue saturation. So it's the first icon in the second row. I want you to add what's called a hue adjustment layer. You'll see that it gets added down here into your layers. It's created a mask. We'll learn about that later, okay?
I don't have that option showing.
Under adjustments?
Yeah, and properties. I'm looking, I don't see that.
Go up to window and make sure you have your adjustments turned on.
And now to do it.
Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got the adjustment layer in here?
I see the adjustments. What am I clicking?
So you just want to click the one that says hue saturation. Hue saturation.
Hue saturation. Got it.
And now you should be looking at the properties panel. Okay, and you'll see there's a scroll bar here. Okay, scroll down until you see where it says colorize and put a check mark there.
Got it.
And you should already see it.
Pretty.
Right, now scroll up and anywhere on the hue bar, drag that slider. What? Shut up. I just made them all pink. Mostly.
That's what mine did. Yeah.
And you could, saturation is intensity and light and dark. I mean, you can play around with it. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter, right? But what's happening is, did you notice how the marching ants disappeared?
Yes.
Yeah, but we still have an active selection. What's happening is all the changes are happening on this what's called adjustment layer, which is being applied below it. This is actually what's called a non-destructive. It's called non-destructive editing. If you were to turn the eyeball off of the adjustment layer, you get your blue flowers back.
Mm.
Do you get it? Right here in the layers panel, turn the eye visibility off of the.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
Right? You
Yeah.
see turning on and off, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that way we actually didn't do anything to this practice layer. We actually added a mask above it, and we're just working with a selection. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so you could go ahead and turn on practice layer 1. You can turn the eyeballs off of the 2 layers below. It won't matter because I look at both when I grade it. You want to select practice layer 1, and you want to go ahead and select this. It's a nautilus, and then place it on the plate. You want to remove the rest of the white background, okay, which you can use your eraser tool. So how are you going to pick the nautilus? Do you want me to do it with you guys?
I plan on. Oh, you can.
What tool do you think you're going to use?
On using the magnetic lasso tool.
You're going to use the magnetic lasso? What about you, Maddie? What are you going to use? Quick selection isn't great on this one. I think magnetic lasso is a good one. Let's do that one. I'll go along with you guys, so we can finish the whole assignment together.
Thank you.
Of course.
And I plan on going back to the past video conferences that you had and doing those.
Yeah, so I made a comment. I noticed that, or some students have told me this, and I noticed this as well. If you view the past conference on a Wi-Fi, you won't be able to see the my screen, which is the whole point of this. But if you have a wired connection in your house, that'll be better. I have IT working on it, so just be aware that there might be some issues. You might not be able to see the conference. So, and I know that.
Oh. After I did the magnetic tool, and if I need help, I go to the lasso tool, and what do I hold down? Shift?
Okay, so let me ask you, do I need to add this? So here in mine, do I need to add or do I need to remove?
Oh, I need to remove.
So
that was
remove
all.
is all. Very good. Yeah, very good. You go, girl. You got it. Right? And I'm going to add to this one as well. How you doing, Maddie?
Oh.
She said good. Oh, okay.
Okay, so my lasso tool kind of messed up, so I thought I'd just run over to the quick select. I tried quick select, and then it selected the bottom of the thing, so I'm running back to lasso. Well, to the magnetic lasso.
Maddie's husband is trying to sleep, and I know I have a super loud voice. I'm gonna get headphones next time. Oh my God, I'm sure he's like hates me. My super loud voice. I know, I don't even know why I'm talking so loud. I'm in my office. It's not like I'm in a classroom. It's habit. Okay, do you both have, I have headphones. He hates me. That's fantastic. Blame me, blame the teacher. It's okay. I'll take the hit for you, Maddie. No worries. All right, do you both have the Nautilus moved to the plate somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, yes. All right, so watch this. Let's clean up the background. It's super easy. I want to get rid of all of this yuckiness, right? So I'm going to use my eraser tool. I'm going to come over here to the eraser tool, okay? And you might pull your brush out, like the tip of your brush might be small, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a fast shortcut to, I can come up here to the options bar and I can increase the size, right? That's one way to do it. Or I can come out here, and if you click the right bracket tool, Look at that. And now I can click, hold, and drag and kind of get rid of most of this background, right? I don't want to get rid of anything on the plate, right? That was easy, right? Did you guys get it?
No, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to fix this lasso.
Oh, okay.
I thought I had it. I thought I had it.
Okay, I'll wait for you. No worries. I'll go back to backwards in time so we can do the eraser part together.
See, like, okay, so every time I'm subtracting, and I start from the outside and I bring it into the edge where I missed, and then I come back out to the outside and let go. It does like an extra line in the middle, like where I didn't even.
Is it like it has a hole? It would have a hole in it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want you to, instead what you do is hold the shift key down and draw a circle, draw a selection around that selection, and it'll add it into it.
Draw a circle. Oh, yep. I think that's better, but I think it still looks funky. Let me try to move it. Yeah, it has like a little hole still. But it's like it's the hole inside the gray part. It's the hole inside the background.
That's fine. I'm not going to take off for it. You can turn it because I want you to turn it in tonight when we're done. When we hang up, when we're done with this, okay. I want you to submit it, and you both will earn 100%. I'll go in and grade it instantly because you did it with me. When you do the assignment with me, I definitely wouldn't take any points off because it's for practice.
And another thing, when I moved it duplicated without me holding anything down.
Don't know, but I'm not going to worry about it. I would have to see what you were. I would have to see what you were doing, and I'm not sure.
Okay.
And you are on practice layer 1, correct?
Deselect. Yes.
It
says practice layer 1 copy. What?
Oh, you made a copy of the layer?
I don't know how.
It happens. Do you have 2 copies of the practice layer 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever one says copy on it, if you right click, you can choose delete layer.
Okay. Right click,
it's totally fine.
Sure you want to delete? Yes. Okay, now I'm back on practice layer 1. Okay, perfect. We can start erasing because I know how to do this part now. So.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pick the eraser tool again, and the keyboard shortcut was the left and right brackets will allow you to adjust the size of your eraser tool. So I'm just going to make it kind of big and then just come in here and erase most of the background.
You said the left and right bracket?
Yep, square brackets.
Gotcha. Okay.
So do you see how I have most of the background, but I don't have all of it? All right, so I would ask you both, before I tell you, what other selection tool could I use to just pick the color white and delete it?
Oh, that one we just used. What is it called? Is it the magic wand?
It is the magic wand. So just go ahead and pick the magic wand. I'm going to click right up here in the upper left. And do you see how it kind of picked all of the white? And just press delete on your keyboard, not backspace.
Oh, bam.
And then Control D. Bam.
Awesome.
Right, and you could turn on the other 2 layers if you wanted to, and turn in your file.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome so much. Make sure you save it.
Control
And yeah, so we kind of covered a lot of different selection tools. For those people who are watching the video, we covered marquee selections. We covered lasso tools, and we covered both quick select and magic wand. Those are the main selection tools. Some of them pick by color, which are quick select and magic wand. Some of them pick on shape, the lasso and the marquee tools. And then we also experimented with different keyboard shortcuts. You're going to use these techniques over and over. What I would tell you and anybody else watching is that it's never just one tool. For example, when we deleted the background, we erased a bunch and then we used another tool to get to some of the other areas, right? I had a student one semester who tried to use the magic wand for everything they did. And I was like, you cannot use the magic wand for every single selection you're going to make. It's impossible. So don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And again, one of the things I set up at the start, which Winter, I know you weren't here for that part, maybe you heard it, was 9 times out of 10, the reason something doesn't work is because you're not on the right layer. So always just make sure that you're on the right layer.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that's exactly what just happened to me too. I was on the copy layer.
There you go. See, I know. And even I make that mistake. It happens. So even I make that mistake. So, do you guys have any other questions about anything?
No, I'm submitting now.
Okay, perfect. And Maddie, she's typing something. I'll wait and see what she says. No, I don't. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing. Back over here. You are very welcome. Thank you for coming, Maddie, twice. And Winter. So I'm going to do this Mondays and Thursdays. And what I'll typically do is go through an assignment like this or demo some different things. And of course, always bring your questions, and I'm happy to answer them as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right, girls. Well, go have a good rest of your night. And make sure that you both participate in the first discussion question. If you haven't started that, definitely get in there tonight and at least post one time so that you earn the full points by Saturday. You have to post on 2 different days to earn the full points.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You are currently the only person in this conference.